You know what? So it actually happened fairly early for me in college. Um, and I don't know if I said I'm a leader, but I said I have to do something, right? I feel like I'm one of few who can do this. In high school, I went to a perfectly racially balanced high school. So I lay that as the backdrop of going into a university that was less than 2% diverse. And they had an amazing education program, which I majored in secondary education, social science. And I went in and my first class, my professor said, my first education course said, she said, you won't be teaching those nice white faces anymore. And when I raised my hand and said, what are black faces? What are Asian faces? What are Latino faces? Her response was, I didn't see you there. And at that moment, I realized this is a different environment that I'm in. I realized that there were so few minority students on campus that we needed to mobilize so that we would be able to make impact and change at the university level. So I was one of the founders of the Minority Student Union, and I started a scholarship for African American students there. Um, and again, at that time, I think it wasn't about I want to be a leader. It was like I need to be able to make impact. I need to be able to change the things that I feel need to be changed, based in my own ethics and principles, and just a shared value system with other individuals. And I grew up with amazing role models. Amazing women in my life who I saw lead, and make change and make impact. So I don't know if I ever thought I'm going to be a leader. I just remember thinking, I want to make impact. I want to make change. Vision. I believe there are some leaders who believe in maintaining the status quo. That is not someone that I tend to follow in leadership. I want someone with a bold vision, someone who is a disruptor, who's always going to ask the question, why are we doing it this way? And how can we do it better? But also someone who knows how to empower other people. But I also believe the leaders that I am drawn to are authentic. I really work hard to make sure that my team understands that I'm accessible and approachable and that we are a team. I may be the quarterback, but it takes every person on the field, right, to reach the goal. And so I think with that, you have to be authentic. The core team has to be people who are committed to the role day in, day out, and are managing other team members because they have to take that message from the core table throughout the organization. And that's only someone who's here and seen as a leader for 40 hours a week. When we began to build the core team, there were core competencies I was looking for. One is extreme expertise in their skill set, right? Because I look at the core team also as my advisors. I'm pushing out questions to them that I'm expecting that they have the expertise to answer. So when I brought on really our three new leaders, if you notice, they all have expertise in a very specific area, whether it be advocacy, finance, human resources, or advancement. I wanted to make sure that they were also seen by the other leaders on core as the expert in that area. I'm really proud of the team we've built because we can have tough conversations, but at the end of the conversation, we're going to come out of it with a solution. Also, I think one thing this team has done does a dance really nicely about is there's not a level of competition and jealousy within the team because everybody knows this is my skill set, this is my lane, this is what I bring to the table, and I strive really hard to recognize each of our leaders when they contribute successfully to the mission, right? It's really important for me that we shout each other out, right? And that we respect each other's work. When someone is doing excellent work, we praise that person because we recognize it is helping the overall mission of the organization be successful, which helps us all. And I think for the first time, there's synergy about what the messaging of the organization is and what we're trying to accomplish. The strategic plan is very clear. And because they all contributed to the strategic plan, they all have a vested interest in it, right? And it gets challenging and it gets tired, there's fatigue, but we all know that if we don't follow this plan, we're not going to accomplish the goals that we set out. I love the curb cut theory because it was designed for the margins. It was designed for those with mobility issues. But if we look at what curb cut has done for society, it has improved commerce. It has improved quality of life for families. It has done all these amazing things that it was never intended to do, right? But because it was designed for the margins, others found usefulness in that design. And so we are attempting to do the same thing at the Epilepsy Foundation. When we consider new programming or initiatives, it is always considered from the margins. But because we know if we get that right, then everyone in between will benefit from the work.